There it is. The red carpet and the red robes right there. So, hey, everybody, welcome to Behind the Book Live, a new podcast series I started here to put authors out there and make them shine. And today I got my good friend, Joanie's in the house. Joanie, what's going on?
Hello, I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Love that fancy intro. You are way too cool. Way too
Hey,
cool for school.
I try to be sometimes, you know what I mean? But no, not as cool as you are, you know what I mean? So, this book, I just got to tell you right off the bat, Dive in Deep. When I heard the title, you know what I thought about, right? I mean, come
The
on. We're thinking of
shark,
water,
right?
sharks. I'm thinking,
Water sharks.
man, this is
It's a
incredible.
perfect combo. I know.
It is. So everybody out there, they're pumped up for this. And it's our first episode here to put you in the spotlight, but you're already in the spotlight. I mean, we got so much going on with you. To be honest with you, I've been looking up for you for years. You know what I mean? When I first started 12 years ago, I was like, you're up on the stage at ASA and all that. I'm thinking maybe one day I could be just like her. So, and this book, I got to tell you, everybody, if you didn't get a copy yet, you have to get a copy. When I started reading this, I was like, oh my God, this is so inspiring. If anybody is a go-getter, this is the book for you. So, Joanie, let's just deep dive into it, like we always say. And how did you come up with the idea to even start writing a book?
Well, Richard, it's funny. I was thinking of writing a book for years, and I've had many people talk to me about, writing a book and sharing career advice, and just this industry that we're in, the staffing industry. We have so many experiences. We see things, at all different, companies, and deal with all different types of people. And we have some funny stories, but really just incredible experiences. But I have to say, my good friend, Charles Payne from the Fox Business Network and from Fox News, he had encouraged me to write a book to share career advice. And he probably did that about 10 years ago. So it was something that was always in the back of my mind. And I got serious about it about 3 years ago. So it did take me a while. And I would write chapters and rewrite chapters. But finally, just launched the book last month, and so excited
Awesome.
to kind of bring this to market and really to share my story, but also advice on, how to live your best life, how to achieve advancement in career, and really achieve your goals. So that's what it's all about.
Well, shout out first, Charles Payne, man. He's an expert in the business. So to take advice from him, there it is right there. But I got to just ask you right off the bat. So, I mean, some of the big things I even looked at in the book: dream big, work hard, always dive into, life and everything like that.
Yes.
I mean, you're so positive all the time. I mean, I'm positive, but this book is all about positivity, that there's no negativity in it at all. This is all about you can do it.
Right, but we all deal with hardships, right? And challenges and obstacles. So when I came up with the title, Dive in Deep, the dive in was really to encourage people to even, embrace their fear, and to dive in anyway. I feel like so many people hold themselves back from maybe going for what they really want to achieve, or pursuing their dreams, or pursuing their career ambitions, or personal aspirations of what they want to do. And so I want to encourage people to dive into their career, to dive into their best life. Don't be afraid. Don't hold yourself back. There's a pool there, right? There's water. You're going to be
Mm-hmm.
okay. And even if you make a belly flop or two, that's okay. We all do. I certainly have. I've had many belly flops in my life. Life is far from perfect. But you got to keep diving in, and you learn from it, and you refine your technique, and you refine your approach and your goals and where you want to go, and you find a way to do it.
Man, love it. So we got to talk right off the bat in the book, right in the beginning, the father work ethic and mom wore the pants. You got to tell everybody about that a little bit because when I
Oh,
read that, I was like, man, this is like my family over again.
really? You felt the same way? So
100%.
yeah, so I am so, blessed, really. I hit the jackpot with both my parents. They are just a fantastic couple and still, to this day, each other's best friends. But my parents really were, very young when they had me. They were hardworking. They both came from, hardworking families and large families. They didn't really have a lot, but they certainly loved each other, and were very committed to each other. And they raised me and my three sisters, to really know that we were loved. They gave us the gift of confidence, and they definitely showed us and demonstrated hard work ethic. My mom was a nurse, my father was an electrician. Um, I remember them going through tough times, like I certainly remember my father being unemployed, my mom having to go back to work. I remember my mom paying for groceries with food stamps. They definitely had their challenges, but they worked hard, and they never made us felt like we didn't have anything. In fact, they made us all feel like, we were rich, right, with love and support and family.
Mhm.
And with hard work and with education, we could achieve whatever we wanted to do. And so I really do credit my parents, for encouraging me and supporting me, throughout my education and then certainly throughout my career. They just made us feel like, we could do whatever we wanted. So was very, very blessed. I know everyone doesn't always have that upbringing. We all have different upbringings, but we need to leverage, certainly our upbringing and the good and the bad, the challenges. They make us who we are today, and they make us stronger.
And I got a great story for you. My dad said we all had to be Eagle Scouts, me and my three brothers. If you didn't get Eagle Scout, you were kicked out of the house. It was like, dude, you're not going to play
Wow.
sports,
Yeah.
Eagle Scout all the way. And you know what? I thank him to this day because, Joanie, every time when I was younger on my resume, they looked at the college degree from Penn State and they're like, Eagle Scout. You just jumped above. So I'm like, thank you, Dad. When I was like, I'd rather do
Yes.
something else besides go camping every weekend.
Well, and you learn, it's all about skills, right? And it's all about learning. I talk a lot about that in the book. We all need to be lifelong learners because things are rapidly changing, and it's so important. But Eagle Scout is a great accomplishment, and you should be proud of that. And thanks to your dad for encouraging you, or maybe making you actually achieve that.
Well, all I can say at the end, on my honor, I'll do my best, and I do that every day. You know that. So
Yes.
okay. So the part I love is dive in deep. Explain to people the deep part.
The deep.
DEP.
Right. Well, I always, there's that expression, we say it probably all the time. Let's dive in deep to this. But the deep actually does stand for 4 strategies on how you can approach your career and certainly your life. So D stands for design, which is all about your approach, your goals, your purpose, what are you good at, your skills, how do you, what are really your ambitions, and then how can you align that with where there's opportunity so that you can marry the two. So that D is all about designing your approach. Then we get into the first E, that is standing for experience, which is really that next phase. Now you have your goals, you have your plan, you need to gain experience no matter where you are in your career. I talk a lot about early careers, maybe internships and, starting, right out of college, gaining experience in those first few jobs. But we're always gaining experience as we go. So that's very important. And then you get into execute. So execute is all about refining, taking those experiences, refining them, just as like a diver, right, would have to refine their dive and their skills and truly execute, which, I talk about in the book, how experience is really about using your springboard to dive in,
Mhm.
but execute is about taking off and flying high. And then the P is the 4th strategy, and that stands for persevere. And we all need to persevere. We're going to have obstacles or hardship or challenges, but we should never give up on ourselves. And that perseverance is so, so important. And I encourage everyone, even if you get knocked down, you got to keep going. You can't lose sight of your goals and what you want to do. So those are the 4 strategies. There's chapters on, each strategy. And then at the end of the chapter, as you know, because you read the book, I add a reflection, section. Just ask a couple questions, how you could reflect on each chapter and really give yourself some takeaways. So I tried to make it very easy to read and some practical advice as well.
I got to tell you, it's very easy to read. If anybody, it's easy to read. One thing that I love about it, Joanie, is believe in yourself. I always say this all the time. I look in the mirror every day and say, I just love life and I love myself. And that's being confident so I can love everybody else around me. There's no jealousy, and I think you're the same way. There's no jealousy. If somebody, we're all equal. If somebody has more, what's more at the end of the day? It's all about fulfillment.
It is. It really is about, finding your own fulfillment. What brings you joy, and that is the greatest thing in life, really. And you can't let anyone take that away from you, certainly. But when I wrote this book, I really wanted to help encourage other people to pursue their dreams, because ultimately it's providing them fulfillment and leading to joy in their life if they're achieving their dreams and aspirations. So I want to pull other people up. I want people, yes, to dive into those goals, but my goal in life is, the more people that I can help get them on their path, because we all have our own path. It's not the same for anyone. I feel like, I'm doing some good work there. And that's ultimately my goal and why I wrote the book.
But there's so many great chapters, Joanie. One I love is take a time out. I mean, we all talk about this our whole life. I mean, we need to recharge. Tell a little bit of people about what you have your view of to taking a time out.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite chapters too, because I had to learn how to do that and how to take a time out, how to give myself the gift of time, because we're all so busy, and as you go through your career, you have different priorities, and then you start a family and you have children, and of course that becomes your priority, and you really feel like you're juggling, right? And there's so much, but you need to have some time to yourself every day, just to think and reflect and kind of recharge those batteries. So it is something I definitely try to do. Like this morning, I did go for a run. I talk a lot in the book about running. I don't run as much as I used to, but it's still that time for me to just kind of decompress. A lot of times I don't even bring music. I used to have music, but I just want to think. I don't want the music. I don't bring my phone. And it's just time for me to just be by myself and think. And I think having that time alone recharges, those batteries. But I want to say one more thing about that chapter, because the other piece about taking a time out is that all of us are so connected to our work and our email and texting. And sometimes it's really hard for people to disconnect and take vacation. And I talk about in the book how PTO should not be pretend time off. I want people to think differently about PTO. I want PTO to be protected time out. And I encourage people, take your vacation time, disconnect from your job, connect with your family, friends, yourself, and give yourself the gift of that time. And protected time out is something that I think of every day, whether it's that hour to myself, but it's also those times when I'm going to take vacation with my family, and I'm going to protect that time as well.
You're so right on it. And the one thing I can tell anybody out there, your phone, put the phone away. Trust me, when I go to the gym, I put it away for a while. That's why I got glasses on, because 3 years ago, phone.
Yes, I know. We're always on our phones too much, right? I hate when I get that message. It's like, your screen time is up. And I'm like, oh no, I'm looking at my phone too much. We really do need to get a break. It's not it's not good for us. It's not good for our minds. It's not good for our eyes. It's not good for our necks. There's so many things. So yes, put the phone down, take a break. It'll be there when you get back.
That's right. It'll be there. All them social media platforms will be there, and all them likes and followers will still be there. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely. Yes.
So Joanie, what chapter really, you wrote the whole book. So what chapter really stuck out? Like you had to go back a little bit more and keep saying, I want to touch up this chapter more and more.
Well, I did that with the whole book, Richard. I wish I'm going to give you one chapter.
First off, I got to ask you, how long did it take you to go over and over it again? I mean, was it like...
Gosh. Yeah, that was the toughest part. Like the last, 6 months, I just kept refining things and changing things. And even when I finally submitted it as the final, I wanted to take it back and say, wait a minute, maybe I should go through it one more time. And, you can always keep tweaking it. So I finally had to say, okay, this is it. Let me turn it in. Mm-hmm. But the one chapter that, I really, I like a lot of the chapters certainly, but the chapter on accountability and really living your life kind of above the line is something that is really a philosophy that I embraced probably over 20 years ago, and that was life-changing to me, and I've tried to share that with other people. It's certainly not my concept. Someone shared that approach with me about putting yourself in a powerful position. Live yourself above the line. You don't want to act like a victim. You don't want to blame other people. You don't want to make excuses for not living the life that you want to live. You don't want to say, I can't do this. And I really just believe that we need to stay above the line. It's easy for all of us to kind of fall below that line, maybe, right? And feel pulled down to that. But that chapter is certainly where I talk about some personal situations for myself, where I knew there were times and I recognized, oh my gosh, I'm acting like a victim here, or I'm falling below the line, and I'm going to change that. And so I've also received just a ton of great feedback, some people that really have loved that chapter as well. So I definitely would encourage people that, the book is written, you really don't have to read it from start to finish. Each chapter kind of has its own story. So if something resonates with you, you definitely can, take a look at just the accountability chapter or the mentorship chapter, or taking a time out. So they all kind of have different advice and different stories to share.
Man, good stuff. The mentorship, I got to talk about that because we all need mentors. I don't care how successful we are. What do you tell the young generation out there? I mean, what kind of recommendations do you give them?
Yeah, mentorship can be, structured and defined, or it can be kind of loose as well, right? So I would encourage the younger generation to find mentors. They don't have to be like official mentors, but find people that they really look up to. And I don't mean like just following people on social media. I mean, finding people that you work with and that you interact with at your job, or, in your community that you can learn from and gain experiences and ask them questions. And I would encourage, the younger generation to ask people that they admire, would you be my mentor? Would you mentor me? Would you spend maybe even an hour a month, just having a conversation with me and let me ask questions and gain your advice? So mentorship has helped me. I talk about it, I do have a chapter, but I talk about it throughout the book, because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for some great, strong mentors that really took me under their wing and coached me and provided advice and guided me, and just both men and women. And I found some people and I latched onto them. I definitely hooked my wagon to them and said, I want to learn from you. So I encourage you to find those people in your life, and I still try to find them today. I'm 52 years old, but I still am learning and admire many people and ask for advice and guidance all the time.
Well, welcome to the 50s. I just turned 50 this year. So, man,
Yeah,
I'm in another
there you
decade.
go.
So,
Well, what do they say? The 50 is the new 40, or the 50 is the new, yeah. It's like we're trying to keep up.
I got to tell you, for the last 4 years, I try to say I'm just in my 40s. Now it's like, what the hell? I'm in my 50s. Who gives a care?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm proud of it, you know.
Oh my goodness. So I got to ask you real quick. This is a serious question. So when you started your career, did you ever think you would be where you're at right now? I mean, the different roads and the different paths you've taken, you know?
Yeah, no, that is a great question. And, you know, in some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. You know, I always felt like I wanted to run my own business, you know,
Uh-huh.
and I wanted to be the president of a business and be successful. And I had, you know, these aspirations. But did I really think and believe that I'd be where I am today? I probably have even exceeded where I imagined or thought I could go. And so someone had asked me this question years ago, and I said, well, they actually asked me, you know, if you had to give advice to your younger self, what would it be? And I said it would be to dream big, but even to dream bigger than you can even imagine, because I should have dreamed bigger, because I ended up luckily, right, in probably an even bigger and you know, really in a career that has just given back so much to me and has opened up, you know, so many different avenues. For example, the American Staffing Association, you know, to
Yes.
think that I was invited to be, you know, on the board of directors and then became an officer and now will become the chairperson of the ASA. Did I ever dream that? You know, I don't know.
Man.
I didn't dream big enough. So, you know, now in my role, I'm like, okay, I still need to dream bigger. And even though we're joking about our age, you know, still young, still have a long runway ahead of me, and want to do more, certainly.
Exactly. The only thing I say for me is I got a little silver in my hair now. But
Yeah.
besides that, everything's fun. But no, ASA, congratulations on that role you're going to have next year. I mean,
Uh,
that's incredible. That's like one of the high peak points of your staffing career for sure.
well, thank you. And I mean, just a shout out to ASA, just
Yes,
what the American Staffing Association does for our industry and, you know, protecting us, right, in so many ways from just, you know, different legislation and, you know, really just being such a incredible association that gives so much back, gives so much training, guidance, um, really thought leadership. You know, it's been an honor, you know, to be associated with them and to be on the board. But I certainly feel like I also hit the jackpot with this industry. And, you know, just what a great career I have had. And I'm so grateful that I ended up in the staffing industry as a whole.
well, you know what? This is not a job, Joni. This is not. I mean, I used to be a
No,
probation officer. This is like, I feel like every day, this is just a lifestyle. I mean, staffing is, we always say, how do we fall into it? But it's like, this is so much fun. Every day is
it,
rewarding.
it is so much fun. And I'm so grateful I fell into it, you know, but I've stayed in it because I really do believe the work that we do matters. You know, we're
Mhm.
connecting people with great jobs, we're connecting companies with great talent, and that makes a difference. It makes a difference in people's lives. And you think about over a period of time how many lives you've touched, right?
Oh,
And maybe help someone, whether it's their first job or getting a promotion or getting that pay raise. You know, we're helping people put food on the table for their families. So the work we do matters. I love our industry and feel very fortunate to be part of it.
and you know what else I love? The professional people like yourself and everybody else. When we go to staffing world and stuff, I mean, everybody is so kind. Everybody's full of energy. There's love. We give tips and secrets out. We just love life in general. And it's, I can't say anymore. It's the best industry in the world. Seriously, I tell anybody, if you want to get in staffing, reach out to us. We'll tell you. It's the best.
Yes, it is the best. And it is unique that we do help each other so much. I love that about our industry. because I think it's, it's really helping everyone rise. I'm also part of the Together We Rise
Yeah.
book, one of the contributing authors, and we talk about supporting women, but it's also about our industry supporting each other, because together we can do so much more. We're stronger together as well. So I totally agree with you. I feel the same way about the people in our industry. I love it too.
Exciting stuff. Okay, so back to the book now. I'm reading the tips at the end. I love these tips, Joanie, at the end. I mean, you have some great tips here. Never stop learning. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
big one. Welcome and invite feedback. I think some of these are so. The humble part, don't settle, find better. I mean, these tips right here, if you take these 5 tips and use them every day, you're going to be successful. 100%.
Well, thank you, Richard. I'm first of all, I appreciate you so much that you read the book. It's so nice to when you speak to someone who has really read the book, and I know you have, and also that you just are enjoying it. And it is practical. It's not that I'm really coming up with, some new recipe for success, but it is sharing best practices. And I think, to your point, if you do some of these things, and never stop learning, certainly be humble, be accountable, but yes, don't settle. Please don't settle. Dive into your best life and go after what you want, because you're worth it. And that's what I really try to get across in the book.
Self-worth. Okay, so on a side note, how'd you come up with the cover? Because you know me, I'm all about blue and the beach feel. I look at this
Well,
cover and I'm thinking, man, this is all about the beach. So how'd you come up with it?
well, that's a great question. I went through a few different versions. I think, when you write a book, I didn't even have, I had a few different titles, first. So what happened was I kept writing chapters. And I think the marketing side of me really thought about, okay, how am I going to structure this book and kind of bring it together? And originally, I was playing with the word dream, because I wrote the chapter about dream big, right? And that
Hmm.
was always my advice: dream big, think big, dream bigger. And as I wrote the book and it kind of came together, um, I actually thought of this story, being a little kid, which is my introduction in the book. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I was standing on a diving board. I had dreamed about diving off the diving board and playing in the pool with my
Wow.
cousins all day long. And I remember my dad standing there trying to, on the side, encouraging me, dive in, dive in. And I was so scared. I don't know why, but I froze. And long story short, obviously, I dove into the pool, did one of the most beautiful belly flops of all time. And when I dove in, I thought, wow, I did it, and I swam to the side of the pool. I was mad my dad didn't catch me, but that's another story. So anyway, the rest of the day, played with my cousins, enjoyed it. And it was like, something I had thought about as a kid. I had wanted to dive off a diving board. And for some reason, I was fearful of that, and then finally did it and had the best time. And so I started thinking about that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to use that story as my introduction. And so the reason I bring that up is the book kind of took on a life of its own. Every time I wrote a chapter or I thought about how I wanted to put this together, and then the whole diving in the pool and blue, and then I came into dive in deep, and the deep stood, I kind of came up with a way to organize the chapters. I have to say, it just all came together. And I designed the cover really myself,
You got to be
of
kidding
just
me.
kind of,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, I did work with, certainly an editor that helped me pull everything together, but I was very
Hmm.
particular about what I wanted. So, yes. So, yes, my dive in deep.
I
Very
love
proud
it.
of this, very proud of the book. And I do love the water. It's funny, we all have our different things. I've always loved the beach. I've always loved the water. It's peaceful. And I will say I could get a little scared. As a kid, I did see Jaws, Richard, and was a little
Oh,
scared
come
of
on now. Okay,
sharks as a
so
child.
tell me the story. Now you're going to keep everybody going. You've seen
Yeah.
Jaws. Come on, since I'm the shark, let's
Oh
hear
my
it.
gosh.
Yeah.
I think of one of my best friends, Nicole, who loves Jaws and has a Jaws party every single year. But yes, as a kid, I remember sitting in the movie theater watching Jaws. And of course, growing up, I grew up on Long Island, would constantly go to Jones Beach as a kid. There was many,
Hmm.
scary shark sightings. And, after I saw that movie, I don't know if I really went in the water that summer. I might have been a little fearful. But the truth is I love the beach. I love the water. And I'm not a great diver. I certainly try, though I talk a lot about diving and kind of use that as a metaphor in the book, to really refine your dive. I'm not a great diver, but that's okay. I could still work on it.
That's me. I'm not a great diver either. I can still do a cannonball. Remember them?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I'm dating
Cannonball.
myself now.
I could still do the front flip too. Like still, but that's about it. So
Oh my goodness. Good stuff here. So, okay, so people can find the book. Let's throw this up here. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Apple Books, everywhere, right?
yes, it is out there. Dive in deep. And you can also go, I have a website, joniebily.com, which is on the screen. Thank you for sharing. You can click on it and that'll take you right to the book as well. And I just ask, for anyone watching, would love to hear feedback. Feel free to reach out to me. Let me know what your favorite chapter was or if anything really resonated with you. I love the feedback. So thank you.
Incredible. Okay, and so now I love tag names. I got to bring it up. So tell everybody your tag name and how you came up with that because we talked a little bit about that, and I love how you came up
Yes.
with it.
Well, yeah, kind of started a little bit as a joke, but yes, the Duchess of Labor. I need to get myself like a little crown, right? When I say
Yeah.
that, the Duchess of Labor. So the truth is, my daughter Ashley, who is very bright, was studying history in many of her honors classes, and one night she came home, and this was years ago, and she was talking about the Knights of Labor and the labor movement, going back over 100 years ago. And she said, "Mom, do you know much about the Knights of Labor?" And the truth was, I really didn't remember or recall too much about it. So we started discussing it, and the Knights of Labor was very instrumental, really around the turn of the century, when they focused on eliminating child labor laws, and they were even ahead of their time with trying to have equal rights for women. And so my daughter starts talking to me about the Knights of Labor, and she said, "Mom, this is like, basically what you do, right? Don't you always help people find work, and you're all about equal rights, for women, and just promoting diversity in the workplace and equity?" And I was like, "Yeah." She said, "Well, you need a title." She's like, "Why don't we call you the Duchess of Labor?" And that's how it all started. So thanks to my daughter Ashley, we kind of coined that term, and really has kind of taken on a life of its own a little bit. But it was definitely to her credit, and she even designed the logo as well for Joanie Bily, the Duchess of Labor.
Man, family affair. I love that the family's involved now in everything that you do, your tagline and everything, which the tagline fits you perfect. You know that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I like all that princessy stuff, right? Uh,
So at Staffing World, guys and girls, get her a crown. She's ready for it.
that's right. That's right. No.
Hey, the only crown I can get you maybe is the Burger King crown, but that's me.
Yes, gosh, that's been a long time since I wore one of those, but as a kid, I will admit I did. So,
Oh
see, I
my.
even liked the crown way back then.
There it
Yes.
is right there. So, final thing I got to talk about is you're on Fox News all the time. So, I mean, we see you all the time. My mom and dad sees you when they watch it. Look at this.
Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. Well, and I talk about a story in the book, and I talk about one of my old bosses, my old CEO, Tig. who was really a wonderful mentor as well. But I was working for Adecco at the time, and Tig was the CEO, and he was unable to do a segment. It was, I believe, at Fox Business. And the marketing person asked me to fill in for him. And my first reaction was, no, I can't do that. I've never been on TV. I'm not like Tig, just totally doubted myself.
Yeah.
And anyway, I decided, you know what? Yes, I'll try it. I'll give it a try and I'll do that. And so this is going back, gosh, probably 15 years ago or so. So I filled in for Tig, and I went in for my 5 minutes of fame to talk about the employment market and what's happening in the job market, and did the segment, and it went fine. I will say I can remember it also like yesterday. It seems like yesterday. And when I was done with it, the marketing person said to me, you did a fabulous job. And I'm like, well, thank you. Well, a couple weeks went by, and the studio called to book Adecco back to be on television. And when they called, they said, we'd actually like to have Joanie instead of Tig. And that was the joke that we had, Tig and I. Tig's like, you kicked me out. You took over my spot. But that one thing led to another. So since they requested me back, then I started doing, more public speaking and more media requests, and ended up being on a bunch of different networks, and have really become kind of a regular on the Fox Business Network around the job report. So I enjoy that. And they are a great network, and, have been a great partner to me as well.
Well, you do an incredible job on there. Seriously, when I check it out, on there, I'm like, look at this. You're just like a rock star there. I don't know if it's scripted or not, but man, you're just on there and it's all live, because I love that. You're just like boom, boom, boom. All the bullet points for the industries just there.
Yeah, no, it is definitely not scripted, and it is live. And what's crazy about it is we are live when the BLS releases the job data. You don't know what those numbers are going to be. So you start out talking about what your expectations are. The report comes out live, and then we have to comment on it. So it's something that I've really had to learn how to navigate through that report super quickly when it comes out live, and the camera's not on me. I'm searching through it, but I enjoy the experience. It's been great. It's been great for my brand. Great, certainly for, EmployBridge. I've worked for EmployBridge for over the last 7 years. And so it's great PR for my company as well.
That's incredible. So how does the shark get on Fox? I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, well, I can definitely make some introductions for you.
I don't know. Uh-oh, look out, people. If the shark gets on the news, look out. It's over with.
Yes.
It's going to be great stuff. So, Joanie, final thing I just got to ask you. So what are some of your hobbies? I mean, everybody knows about the book's incredible and all that stuff, but let's get behind the scenes with the author. What do you like to do in your spare time besides staffing?
Well, I do work a lot. So that is, that does take up probably a bunch of my time. But in my free time, I would say you will find me, I do like to exercise. Call me crazy, but I like to start my days with either a run. I've gotten into hot yoga, which I enjoy as well. But I need that time. We talked about that before. So I do that on my free time. And then weekends and stuff, I really enjoy spending time with my kids right now. I'm lucky enough that they're both home, even though they'll both, be in college. But spending time with family and friends, love boating, love to go to the beach.
Man.
And, pretty simple. I am more of a homebody. I don't, always have to be out and about. But I do like planning, at least a couple vacations a year to get out and see the world. So travel would definitely be an interest as well.
That's incredible. And hear me now. You like Kenny Chesney, right?
I love Kenny Chesney.
You know what? And in your book, you said just be yourself. So you know what? You know what I did? Yeah. It's country time for me. You know what?
I love it.
Yeah. The Sharks going country today. But
I love it. You should have told me. I would have brought one of my cowgirl hats instead of the
Uh-oh.
crown, right? The Duchess. I
No.
actually do love country music.
Oh man.
So, yes,
And you know what's funny thing about it? Everything I do in staffing, my life, and like Kenny Chesney, how he loves life is how I incorporate everything too. The beach, just love people. And, we both are just enjoying life. And I think that's the biggest thing we can get away from everything. Read the book, enjoy life, and just be yourself.
just be yourself. Don't be anyone else, right? They're already taken. You got to be yourself.
That's it.
So.
So, okay. So that's all I have to say. Joanie, you have any final thoughts for everybody out there?
Well, number one, I have to thank you for having me on The Shark. It's been
Hey,
an
anytime.
honor. And I think it's a good team up, right? The Shark and Diving in Deep. So
You got it.
it has been a pleasure. And I just want to encourage anyone that is thinking about, that next step or setting goals or whatever your heart's desire is, stay true to yourself, set your goals, make a plan, and dive in because you are worth it and you can achieve anything that you set your mind to. So go for it.
There it is. That's a wrap. And I'm going to leave it on this note. I mean, you inspire me. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm excited to maybe do some projects with you in the future. And the last thing I got to say is I got a country hat on, so I got to do it. Yeah! That's a wrap for today, guys. Hey, we'll see you next time on another, Behind the Book. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.